Hi, everybody who's joining our weekly episode of Music Industry Talks, hosted by Syncopated Noize. We are a nonprofit organization that helps support musicians, and we've been hosting these talks for musicians and other industry professionals to talk about various topics and what's going on in the music industry right now. The webinars are sponsored by themusicschool.com. That's why they're free. And if you're watching right now, feel free to ask us questions and hit the share button so more people see it. We had over 6,000 viewers last month. So thanks everybody who's been watching. Today, I'm here with singer-songwriter Pat Rossi. Hi, Pat.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Not bad. All things considered.
Yeah.
Pat,
we're all stuck at home, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really weird times, but you know, some of us are being productive. It's good. Musicians are, you know, writing a lot of music and staying busy with various projects. So it's a good time for the creativity side, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So Pat, tell us about your background, and you've been in the music industry for quite a long time. So tell us about how you first got your foot into the industry and your first projects.
Okay, background story. So so I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and my whole life, ever since I was a kid, I always felt like I had the need and the capability of creating and making music. So as a kid, I just tried to learn how to play any instrument that I could get my hands on. So yeah, and so that went on throughout my childhood, throughout my teenage years. I just felt like I had the need to make music. So when I reached college, I was approached to join a band, and they needed a drummer. And so I bought myself a drum kit and I taught myself how to play drums. And so that went on for about 2 or 3 years, where I played drums for that band. It was called Loki Dino. We had a lot of fun. We were friends. And after that, I started a band called One Away, which I jumped from drums to singing. And with One Away, I was really focusing as much as I could on songwriting. Like I really wanted my songwriting skills and to reach a certain level. So we were playing a lot of shows at the time, and I kept writing a lot of songs with the band. And we entered XM satellite radio songwriting competition, which we ended up winning. And the reward for winning the songwriting competition was that we got to open up for Bon Jovi at the Bell Center in Montreal.
Amazing.
So yeah,
how was that experience?
I mean, it was great. For me, it was great for 2 reasons. Number one, it was the first time that I got recognized for songwriting. So I was like over the moon on that.
For sure.
And then the fact that we got to play the Bell Center for a band that I looked up to for so long was incredible, right?
For sure.
So, and we only had like 10 days to prepare for the show, but we were already kind of ready because we were playing a lot of shows at the time. So I mean, I was ready my whole life to play that show.
I think that's an important point, actually. I think like a lot of bands need to realize that, like, the importance of being ready, because you don't know when an opportunity like that could come by. So I think like super important to be ready. Just any time to be able to play a big show like that. So what was your?
You need to know your craft. You need to know what you're doing, and as a band, it's difficult because you need to be cohesive in what you're doing and to sound as a band. And so when you're taken into a level of like going and play a huge show for the first time, like the Bell Center, to like 20,000 people, it was stressful, but it was a lot of fun.
For sure.
We were a little nervous, but it was great. It was a great opportunity. We got to meet Bon Jovi. The whole band was great to us. They gave us the royal treatment and everything. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So then from then on, the band continued for a while, and then we ended up disbanding. We broke up as a band. So that was hard for me to take at the time. But I moved on and I started a band called The Falling, which I did for the last 10 years. And with The Falling, it was funny because the first show we had as the following, we got called back again to play at the Bell Center. And that was like our first show. Yeah. So we were like, whoa, like it was funny. Like one band broke up.
You're like a regular at the Bell Center.
It was crazy. And we played for the Montreal Canadiens for their playoff run for the 2010 season. Yeah, so we played 2 shows outside at the Bell Center. They had this enormous stage. There must have been outside probably anywhere between 10 and 15,000 people. It was like the playoff fan jam that they call it. So that was a great experience. And then from there, we started releasing a lot of songs and stuff like that. And now my newest project now is just myself, Rossi. I just felt like I needed to do something different right now. And I think I did the band thing for so many years, and I love being in a band. I still love playing with other musicians, and I still do. That's why I kind of hate the word solo project, because there's not much solo about it. Like I still have my guys playing with me. Yeah. And like Rob Fliss joined the following 5 years ago, and he's stuck with me ever since. And I love the guy, and I can't wait to play with him again, you know.
Rob is awesome. Shout out to Rob.
Yeah, and that's it. So, you know, but I think it became a solo project in a sense where I just wanted to really focus on my songwriting even more, and just do my thing and not have to really answer to anyone. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of management and different personalities when you're in a band with other people. I always found that challenging, like really challenging. I've always struggled with it, especially if you're the one that like obviously has like the main vision, the main songwriter in the band. And sometimes it's hard to you know, get the other musicians into that same bubble, same vision. But I mean, being a band leader, I think obviously you're now able to do pretty much like every aspect of, you know, leading a project, from the writing to the promotion to kind of handling like everything, right? That's kind of something you learn when you're kind of managing like a group of people, which is even more challenging in my personal opinion. And how do you find that? Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you, how do you find that approach, writing like as a band or writing like as a, like just like you said, like solo? Like how do you find the difference between the two kind of projects?
Well, even when I write as solo with a band, it's great, but you have to be writing with the right people that see your vision, like you just said, which is a very important thing. Because if somebody doesn't have the same vision or the same, even sometimes it comes down to having like the same inspiration for a song. For me, a song goes where it wants to go. I don't force any parts into a song. It's just a song takes a life of its own, and I go with it. What comes is what's written. Whereas I find that sometimes when you bring a song to a band, you might have somebody who wants to like tear it apart and do something that is more influential to them. So if you're in a band with a drummer who's a metal drummer, he might want to make that pop song more metal sounding, which is okay. I mean, that's where fusion comes in, right? Yeah. It could really work well sometimes, and it does a lot of times. Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes it could really suck. That's the problem. So like, just to be blunt there. So that's the problem. And when I was starting on songwriting and working on how to learn I tried to learn as best I can how to write songs by studying hit songs and songwriters. So what I would do like years ago, and I still do it sometimes today, is I'll study a song. I'll take I had a bunch of notes that I would take a hit song and study and actually write like, okay, what makes this song different? What specifically about this song is the structure? What structure works? And I would create all these little templates in my book. And that's how I started learning how to structure songs, how to arrange songs, how a song should start and what should be in the middle. And it's funny because as I studied all these songs and I had all these notes, I started realizing that all the songs had similar structures when it was coming to pop, and a lot of the songs had similar structures when it came to rock, but individually, every song had something so unique about it that you just couldn't write it down in notes. You just didn't know what it was. It was just, and I think that's where production comes into part, where the production, the producer of a song adds like that little cherry on top of the cake that makes it special and unique. So that was my venture to songwriting, and I'm still working at it today. I'm still trying to write the best songs I possibly can.
I have to say your songs are super catchy, like super well written, and just the material just really, really awesome. Like really, it's great what you've been doing.
Thanks. But even as far as the catchiness part, I don't force to write it that way. Like some songs are catchy and it's just that's the melody.
But
that
I think the fact that you did go and study, you know, like you said, it's important to observe, you know, what are the main elements of like a big hit, you know?
Yeah.
What makes that song a hit? What makes it memorable? What makes it stand out? So I think it's really important to observe when you're listening other artists, to actually observe and see what it is that they're doing that's so unique.
Yeah.
And
people don't realize how hard it is to get a song condensed in under 4 minutes, like to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Because I could write an 8-minute song, a lot of people can, but it'll never make it to radio. It'll never, you know, like it's rare that it'll be a hit. That's just the industry that we're in today. Those are just the facts. I mean, I'm not saying anything news like groundbreaking here. Songs on radio are anywhere between 3 and 3.5 minutes. If you're a big enough name, then maybe you'll get a song at 4 minutes if you're lucky, you know, and even at that,
like Queen, you know?
Yeah, that's it. So it's so hard to get all your ideas condensed in 3 minutes. That's the main aspect. So that's what I tried to study is like, how do I get this verse shortened down to like 2 bars and still sound catchy and great, you know? So just details like that.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. And what are your main influences?
It depends. Like influences for me vary. I listen to a lot of rock and a lot of pop, obviously. You can probably tell that from the songs there, right? I mean, I grew up in the 80s. So the 80s was a very electronic music sounding time. I mean, as a kid, I listened to everything. But U2 was always my biggest like rock band at the time. I was 9 years old and that was my first concert. I went to the Joshua Tree tour in 1987. My father took me. So for me, that was the aha moment where I'm like, oh, wow, this is really cool, you know? So that band always stuck with me as like my roots. It was always a band that, you know, I'll take comfort in listening to their music anytime. And then from there it grew. I went into starting to listen to more alternative bands like Our Lady Peace, I Mother Earth, so a lot more Canadian sounding bands, Canadian bands. Today I'm listening, and then there was always the classics that like my father would play for me, which was like Beatles, Rolling Stones, Elvis Presley. I mean, those were all like the big influences for me. Yeah, and today I'm listening to everything. I mean, with Spotify, it's just skip through a song that you like. But if I'd have to call out any bands that I love, I'd say like Ex-Ambassadors, Imagine Dragons are for sure one of the top bands that I love right now.
And in terms of actually that, now that you mentioned Imagine Dragons, I know you've done some work with their foundation. They have like a nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit about what they do?
Yeah, sure. So it's called the Tyler Robinson Foundation. You can check it out at trf.org. I'm an ambassador for TRF, and I'm part of the committee to help ambassadors grow around the world. So basically what the Tyler Robinson Foundation does is they give funds and grants to families who have a child suffering from pediatric cancer. So they take a family and help them financially with all the stuff that outside of the medical costs when a child is sick. There's a lot of costs, like one parent needs to stay home and can't work anymore. So, you know, there's still bills to pay. So the foundation really helps to offer financing to these families so they could get through, and so that the families and the parents can really focus on what's most important, which is taking care of the child that's sick. So I've been working with them as an ambassador since 2017, and they're from Las Vegas, like the band Imagine Dragons. They're from Las Vegas. So I went to their gala in 2017. I took my kids and my wife, and we went there to Las Vegas. It was great. It was a great experience. And every year they're raising, like, I think last year was $2 million that they raised at their gala. So, and I'm an ambassador for it. So I just bring awareness. I'll do
you've been doing a really awesome job with that too. Like I've seen you promoting their their mission and their the cause at various events, even at your shows. I remember you having those like really cool bracelets with the
at the shows we're selling like TRF t-shirts, And all proceeds from the t-shirts would go to the foundation. So anything that we could do to help. Raising awareness is also a huge factor. It's not only about raising money, but raising awareness too. In Canada, it's a little bit more difficult since they're like based in the US. But you know, the word is getting around. We have a lot of support in Canada. There's some great ambassadors also in Ontario and Toronto. So the word is starting to spread. But for me, I just felt like it was a perfect way for me to incorporate like giving back to community and something that I really like cared a lot about, which is kids, obviously. I mean, as a father with 2 kids, like you see like how any way that I can help, you know. So
plus if it's something that is, you know, through music, that's the beauty of it, you know. You're supporting a cause by through the arts, so that's super powerful.
You know, it's important for artists to give back in any way they can. I feel like we're given a gift, a talent or a gift of music, and we should use it any way we can, not only to lift ourselves, but to lift others with it as well. So
I agree. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you just recently released a single called Anxiety. So tell us about your single and what, you know, the meaning behind it, your inspiration. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, well, yeah, Anxiety is pretty much what it talks about, pretty much what the title is.
Were you anxious when you wrote it?
A little bit, yeah. Okay, so, well, Anxiety is an interesting song because it was only up until a few years ago that I realized that I suffered myself from social anxiety. Growing up, I was always very shy. Then when I started playing in bands and people found out, yo, you're gonna be a singer. How could you be a singer? You're so shy. You're so like socially weird. And I'm like, I don't know. I could have done it. So it's just that, you know, the song is about people suffering from anxiety and depression. We wrote the song with Rob and the Lost Boys Productions. I worked with them. We wrote the song last year. And it's funny because we wrote the song before any of this whole coronavirus thing started, and everybody started.
Now it's very fitting.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but that's the thing, is that mental illness has always been around for many years. I mean, forever. I mean, so so being someone who has always felt socially awkward in social environments, writing the song was very easy for me. And it was also just the meaning of the song is how like values and like the world, society has kind of corrupted our view on life and on society. So, and that causes, for me personally, a lot of anxiety. And especially with social media today, I mean, you can keep reading 15 different opinions within 10 seconds when people just get scared and fearful. So, you know, I wrote the lyrics of that song. We wrote that song, and then we're like, when are we going to put this song out? When am I going to put this song out? And then I decided in April that I would put the song out, not because it was just fitting for this moment. It just happened that we planned it from last year that it would be.
It worked out.
Yeah, I guess it worked out. I mean, it was cool. It worked out, but kind of no, because we were like supposed to go play Canadian Music Week this year. And I think it was supposed to be like last week, if I'm not mistaken, the first week of May. And that got postponed. And, you know, we had a lot of stuff planned.
September and then canceled.
And I had released my other single, Let You Go, in November. And that one went pretty well. And then we did Anxiety, and I'm like, okay, you know, we're gonna have festivals to play this summer, and nope, everything got canceled. So we're chipping away at it here from home, and continuing to push the song as much as we can. You know?
Is there a plan for you to do any live stream shows? Because I know some artists are, you know, kind of starting to do that, because we just don't know like how long this thing is gonna last.
If the opportunity came around, sure, I think I could. I would do it. Yeah. I think that's the way of the future right now. I mean, I had seen a few years ago that people were going to pay tickets and watch concerts from the comfort of their living room. I had read an article about it. I can't remember where. And I think that's where we're heading today. People are going to pay a ticket price or a fee, and they're going to watch live concerts from their living room. That's what's happening today. I think they're just sorting out the whole how things are going to work exactly. But I mean, from now to next year, we'll be watching full concerts. We already are watching concerts on television, and it's the new age. That's just the way we're heading right now.
Do you think people will be likely to pay for a show that, you know, let's say for more like local band shows happening via streaming, or do you think that it's going to be a hard sell for musicians?
I think people would pay for it. I would. I definitely pay. I mean, if a buddy of mine is doing a show and I can't make it out that night, but I could be home, I'll watch it. I'll pay to watch it. Definitely. I think that's a great idea. And I don't see why artists and people who love music wouldn't support it. I mean, people could watch videos, people could watch dumb videos online all the time. I mean, why not actually pay and watch something amazing where your friend or someone you know is performing their heart out on stage? I mean, pay the money and support that person.
Yeah, no, for sure. Plus, there's the fact that you're actually spending less money if you're watching a show from home. I mean, you don't have to spend money on gas or
that's a big reality too.
Or parking.
Absolutely, and I think that's gonna be a even bigger reality next year, or when the industry comes back. We were paying $200-300 for a ticket when we were going to watch a show at Metropolis or at like a big band. I think with the big recession that's going to hit us in the next few months,
the ticket prices are going to
go down.
A
depression. Yeah, I don't think people are going to have the money to pay $300 for tickets. So if I could pay like a smaller amount and get to see my favorite band at home, why not?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the industry was going in a direction where the ticket prices kept going up. So this might actually bring it back to, you know, like, okay, now we're going to start like charging like actual, like, you know, the regular prices, like normal prices that people can afford, because the pricing of some shows was getting ridiculous.
I think the ticket prices were going up. Yeah, the ticket prices were going up for the simple reason where bands weren't selling albums anymore. But now I think that's changed, because with Spotify, Apple Music, and all the streaming services, artists are starting to see an income. I mean, it is a tiny income. It's a small amount, but it's something. It's small for indie artists because we're only getting 20,000 or 100,000 streams. But for an artist that's getting millions of streams, you need to look at it as a long-term thing. I mean, the royalties are going to come in eventually. So I think the live show ticket price was to compensate the fact that albums weren't being sold anymore. Whereas now I think it's going to go back to, you know, it might stabilize. That's what I think. It's going to stabilize the ticket prices. Yeah,
I think that's it's very possible that will happen. And what about what's your thoughts on the drive-in concerts that are happening? I think the first one's going to be in Orlando, I think. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, a drive-in concert, how does that happen? I mean, how do I go to a concert and not drink a few beers and enjoy the night? And I'm going to drive. And I'm going to drive and sit in the car the whole time. I mean, it could be great. I mean, why not? Any idea is good. I don't know what the safety aspects are going to be about it.
That's kind of the concern about, you know, even just people like kind of just going to the bathrooms. How are they going to regulate that, you know? Security and like you mentioned, drinking and being in the car while you're drinking, because that will happen.
Exactly. That's it. So I don't know. I mean, any idea is great to try, I guess, and see what happens. If it works, it works. I'm sure they're going to implement really strict rules on stuff like that with the drinking and the partying part of it. But I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, now the drive-in cinemas are coming back, which is going to be good, you know, which is going to be fun. We're going back. That's why I said when all this started with the isolation, everything, I said this is a society reset. And we're going and we're going back to like 1952 with the drive-in theaters and
I never experienced that. I'm actually excited.
Soon we're going to be driving up and people are going to be bringing milkshakes to our door, which is already happening. I mean, because we can't go inside the restaurant. It's crazy, you know, but it's okay, because I feel like throughout the years we kind of lost what was important to us in values and stuff. And some really fun stuff like drive-in theaters and stuff was actually fun to do, and it disappeared because nobody wanted to do it anymore. So, you know, things are changing, and it's adapt or die kind of concept right now.
Always.
Like every industry. Yeah,
for sure. And many businesses are going to have to adapt as well. Otherwise they won't survive this.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hit every business, and even before this started, businesses were hit already with the whole digital age. So like Amazon came along, Uber came along. So I mean, it was just bound to happen. Now this whole coronavirus thing is just taking it's like the tsunami of
Yeah.
the digital age.
Exactly.
Like Zoom exploded and got huge because of this. I mean, it's okay. We're gonna adapt. Even as artists, as musicians, we're all gonna adapt. What you're doing is fantastic. This is great. We get to talk. We get to reach an audience because we can't go out. We can't play shows right now.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I mean, we'll all be okay.
Yeah, we'll get through this.
We just have to adapt.
For sure. And on that note, what have you been up to during quarantine? How have you been spending your time and juggling multiple projects between your music, family, work? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, on the music end, I've been actually a lot more busy now, despite not having to any shows and Canadian Music Week and festivals being canceled. I've been actually more busy with songwriting. I've had a lot of artists reach out to me in the last couple of months saying that now would be a good time for them to release something and write a song. So they're reaching out to me, and I'm helping some artists here in Montreal and Toronto, remotely, of course. I'm working from home, there in their place. We're sharing ideas and I'm writing songs for them. I had actually one person even contact me telling me that they needed an instrumental, a song, for a college application, for example, for like she was going to school for singing. And so, everybody's home now. So everybody wants to write their songs and do what they couldn't do before. So people are starting to get bored. And with boredom comes imagination. So everybody's like, hey, I could do a song. I could be a singer. I could be an artist. So I got quite a few projects actually that
awesome.
Yeah, I've been actually really busy since the end of March, working on that every day. The family life is always family life.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been doing like songwriting, production, right? You've been kind of helping bands with all that. Awesome.
Yeah, right now I'm doing songwriting and production, mixing, and any editing or arrangements, lyrics, anything that needs to be done on songwriting on the song. So some artists have hired me to write a song for them, and so I'm writing the song. And then they'll do their vocals on their end and they'll send me the tracks, and then I'll edit and mix and produce and give them the final product.
Amazing. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you were saying about family?
Family is always family life. I love it every day. I mean, the kids are keeping me busy. It's funny because we were, before all this started, nothing changed much besides the fact that we have to stay home more often. But like, as far as family life, like my wife and I have already been homeschooling our kids for the last 3 years. So we've always had like this alternative look on life, on society, right?
Yeah.
So we've already been homeschooling. So now seeing the rest of the world homeschooling, the rest of the countries homeschooling,
they're gonna have to learn actually how to do that, because a lot of parents, they don't really know what the reality at school is, and parents, like my mom's a teacher, my brother's a teacher, and it's kind of like, they're like, some parents don't know what they're doing with the homeschooling. No. They're not used to that. They haven't done that before. They're now realizing, oh my God, like teachers, they have it hard. It's a hard life, It's a lot.
Job. It's a lot of work. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the teachers, they deserve everything in the world. My wife, she does such a great job. She has so much patience with the kids. I try to help out in any way that I can. But even us, 3 years ago when we started homeschooling, it was a huge adjustment. But I enjoyed it, and we're doing it today. So, I'm the principal of the school and the music teacher. That's about it.
Amazing. So do you teach them? You teach them music? Like, do they do instruments? Do you teach them how to play instruments or?
Yeah, my kids. Well, my son did a lot of piano lessons earlier on. He's still doing a few lessons here and there. That's my oldest son, Adam. My younger son, Jonas, he's more of a singer, producer guy. I mean, he's already using. Did
I see him doing lights at a show once?
Yeah, that was Adam. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. And so Jonas is more the producer, creative type. Like, he already started his band, and apparently I'm the only one allowed to be in his band. Nobody else is allowed. It's only me and him in his band. Yeah, he's already got a label name. He's got a band name, everything. This kid's got everything sorted out. He's producing songs on his tablet. He's showing me how to use instruments and stuff on like GarageBand and stuff like that. And he's doing full-on productions.
Wow.
So I used to try to make them do music more like as a structure. Like I would tell them, okay, you got to do an hour of piano, an hour of. I would love if my kids could play piano the way, let's say, like you play piano. That would be my dream. so like I was trying to structure it, and then I realized no, it can't be structured. They need to just want to do it themselves. So I stopped being pushy on that for the last couple years.
Sometimes I guess it can be counterproductive if you put it, if it's too strict. I mean, everybody responds to it differently, but it depending on how it's done, maybe
like we were doing the regular lessons weekly and I noticed, like, you know, they were losing interest. So I said, you know what, when I backed away from it is when they started coming to my music, to my studio and saying, oh, can I play? Oh, can I hear what you're doing? Oh, and so now that's what I'm doing. They're just going at it on their own, and I'm there to guide them every step of the way.
Very cool. And they have a YouTube channel?
They're my kids are huge on technology and YouTube, and so they have a YouTube channel, Addy Jojo TV, and they have an Instagram. I'm the director of their YouTube channel, and I got fired a few times from them.
Curator? You got fired?
A few times. You know, but when the kids are artists, you don't mess with their vision, right?
No, you don't.
You know, and that's it. Like, all right, if that's what you want to post, I'll post it. I mean, okay. What do I know, right? It's the new generation. They do what they want.
Amazing. Very cool. And you also have, you created RedJam Records a few years ago, right? So tell us a bit about this project.
Okay, so RedJam Records was my way of doing things independently. So I started the label RedJam Records. When I was with The Falling, we were signed to a couple of indie labels. And I kind of disagreed with the way things were being dealt with as far as our music, as far as the way they were running our business and stuff like that. So we broke away from the contracts. We tried one label at first, that didn't work out. We tried another label at first, that didn't work out. It's just, I find that, you know, they were pushing us aside, putting us aside. We were never a priority for the label. They always had a bigger artist to push, and we were never pushing. We were waiting and waiting and waiting to be like, for it to be our turn, right? But you can only wait so long when you're sitting on a bunch of songs that you want to release. So after we finished with the last label, our contract ended. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do this on my own. I mean, independent artists are doing well for themselves. You get to control everything. You don't need to worry about, you know, being pushed aside, and you do it at your own pace. So I started RedJam Records, and then slowly I started that just to basically release my own music. And then from there, I started working with young artists, writing songs, and, you know, some of them were some artists just need a kick in the ass type of thing, like a startup, you know? So that's what I'm doing now at RedJam Records. If you're like an artist and you feel lost and you don't know even how to start in the industry, I mean, I can help you out, and I can get you started, give you the tools that you need to record a song, to write a song. A lot of artists come to me and say, oh, I have this great song, and I'll listen to it. I'm like, yeah, the song's great, but it's 7.5 minutes long. I mean, do you want this to be, what do you want to do with this, right? Like, do you want it to be pop? And like, oh, I want to be a pop artist. Well, you're writing a 7-minute song. It's not going to happen. So I try to help structure their music, and at the same time, give them tools on how to release your music, how to get your song on Spotify with distribution. There's a lot of stuff that comes into the production as well. And like a lot of artists are confused when it comes to like getting the metadata inserted into their music. How do ISRC codes work? How does Nielsen SoundScan work? Like all the stuff, you know? Yeah,
for sure. And if you already had that experience and that knowledge from releasing your own music, so there's a lot of value there that you can provide to artists that are just starting off, or even artists that are not just starting off, that have been doing this for like 10 years, you know? Because the technology is always changing, and
that's it. I try to keep up to par with what's going on, and what's important to do, what's not important. Social media is always important. You need to have all your social links up in order and up to date. If somebody's looking for an artist, you need to have their social page where you know, if you want to shop to get into a bigger label or another label, like we did the Road to Indie Week together a couple of times.
Yeah,
and we're getting applications from all these artists, and I'm like, where is your social media? Like, where can I listen to your music?
Where can we listen to your music? And we have to dig through it and try to find their links. Crazy.
Exactly. All I want to do when I hear a new artist is hear their music. That's the first thing I want to do. So you want to make that as easy and as fast as possible. So you want to have like a SoundCloud set up where it's a one click and the song starts to play. You want to have maybe a YouTube page set up where I can go and click and the song will play. Or even just a website that, you know, when you click on that website, all the information is on one page.
Yeah, it's easy for promoters and labels and everything is in one place. You don't have to research.
Exactly. You know, it's like click on the website. Okay, that's the person, that's the band, that's what they look like. Listen here, click on that link. You're hearing the song and you already have a perspective and a vision of what that artist is about, which is great. You know, then if you're interested, you'll dig deeper. But a lot of artists don't have any of this set up at all. So that's where I come in and I try to help them to really, like, you know, round things out and make it, to get them started where they need to. And some artists are already started and they're just blowing in the wind, like lost and not knowing what they're doing. And sometimes I'm like, man, this person has so much talent. If only like somebody will buckle them down and say like, okay, this is what you need. You need a page, you need social media presence. But, you know, artists, sometimes we tend to wander. So we're strange like that sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's important to have someone that, you know, like you, that, you know, you have the experience, you've done it yourself many times, you know, you've just proven to be always like, you know, really active, you know, on your social media pages and always putting out content regularly. So I think that it's very beneficial for artists to have somebody like that can kind of guide you.
For sure.
Yeah, otherwise you're just doing stuff, not doing it properly, and then just spending so much time on, you know, your music and money also, and then you're not like releasing it properly. And
that's it. The biggest problem is that an artist says, oh, I got this great song, and they put it out on Spotify or they'll put it out on SoundCloud, and that's it. Now the song's great, but nobody knows about it. So it gets lost. There's too much out there today, and everything gets oversaturated, the music industry. So you need to have a little bit of everything: social media presence, constantly putting out music regularly, every maybe 3 months. The world lives on singles today. The skip button is just one tap away. So if I'm listening to your song, I don't like it, skip, you know, but the next song you wrote might be great. So I'll listen to that one and save it. So it's a fast-paced world. Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, you switched more to like a single type of release versus like a full album, full length or EP kind of release. Do you still see value in releasing like a full-length album versus like a single?
From what I'm seeing right now in the industry, everybody's doing singles, and then maybe they put together an EP. I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't know. I mean, an album is great. I mean, when one of my favorite artists comes out with an album, I'll listen to it. If the album is great from start to finish, then that's good. I mean, I'm sure there's still value in the album, but people are still going to pick out the single that they like, and that's the song they're going to go to. So, I mean, for me personally right now, I'm going with the singles. I'm just going to keep releasing singles. I have another single that's being released probably at the end of June. And, you know, and that's another thing that, like we were saying earlier before about being prepared, is that release a single and already have your other single in the background for the next round. Right? People like are gonna release, artists will like release a single and then, oh shit,
you have nothing for a year.
Write another song. I gotta
have a strategy for sure.
And those are even I made those mistakes all the time. Like, we released the album. Okay, now what do we have? We gotta write songs now. We don't have anything else.
Yeah, for sure. You need to have like a proper strategy, release strategy. Otherwise, it's just So
I think if you're a big name band, releasing an album is good. Fans are gonna come to it. But as an artist that's not as known, an independent artist, I think releasing singles is the way to go about it, because you're constantly getting people's attention, and it's just easier to do instead of wasting a year and a half writing and recording, producing a whole album, and then in 1 minute it's released and that's it. Now you have nothing to do for the next 6 months, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have any advice for, you know, artists are kind of going through a difficult time right now, not being able to play any shows. A lot of tours got canceled, and, you know, we're not really seeing the light at the end of the tunnel right now in terms of, you know, when shows are going to come back. So do you have any advice for them in terms of like how to stay creative and stay positive, and what to look for in terms of like what's coming in the industry?
Stay inspired any way you can. Again, going back to the mental health issue, I mean, that's the real thing. Try to find what makes you happy. I know a lot of artists are going to struggle with this right now, both on the business end and mentally, because a lot of artists are susceptible to stuff like this. So I really think that try to stay inspired. And for me, in my hardest times in life, music has always gotten me through it. So listen to artists that you love and try to write songs like them. Find a way to stay inspired and stay motivated. Writing songs, if you're a drummer, drum. If you're a guitarist, play guitar. Play your craft and do what you do best, and we'll get through this. I mean, we're gonna get through this. It is a hard time for everyone right now, and like everyone says, we're all in this together. But I mean, try to stay active. For me personally, that's what I've been doing. I've been writing a lot of songs. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of sad songs that are going to come out of this era. And also there's been a lot of uplifting stuff too. So, it's a mix, but try to stay motivated and inspired. And just remember, if you're an artist, that you are an artist. So you're probably more sensitive to all this than other people may be. So just, keep your mental health healthy and stay inspired. Listen to good music, and stay away from all the stupid videos on YouTube and stuff that drives you down. Keep the energy positive. Awesome.
Pat, it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here. It was
thanks
fun.
Thanks to everybody who's been watching, and definitely check out Pat's social media and websites. You can follow him on Pat Rossi Music, as well as patrossimusic.com, his website, and RedJamRecords.com if you're looking for any advice on your strategy for your releases, as well as any production tips, songwriting. He's your guy. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Alessia, for doing this.
Thanks to the musicbusinessschool.com for sponsoring the event, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes and webinars. Take care.
Take care, Alessia. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.